I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo from OceanCity.com, wearing a really interesting sweater. My wife got it for me. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like a flower with no puffy things, but I've got like leaves. I've got a fuzzy head. I'm the world's largest dandelion.
You need just a little bit more salt and pepper on the temples, and I have a camera on my neck. And
right?
You could reenact
Spider-Man.
The
later years.
Reboot.
After Spider-Man got old and Perry White got bloated.
It's pretty sad that I'm trying to compare myself to a Peter Parker character.
Well, not
is that getting younger and younger.
Yes, the next one's going to be like Boy Spider-Man.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, all sorts of fun stuff today. I've got actually a couple fun things. We were out, we got out, we did stuff, and we also think stuff, and that's what we're here to talk about with you today. But before I get started with my stuff, we're gonna get to Todd and his stuff. In case you missed it, but you can check back on Todd's Facebook page. We do Facebook Live. Tell us about Facebook Live. Why don't you?
Well, we just tried it. We're going to be doing some other things. We've been doing our show in a number of different formats, and we always are looking to update it. We did a little Facebook Live intro, so some people jumped on that. I think on there we already had more viewers
than we've had here.
Than we've ever had here, but that's okay. I get real. I want to make sure that things look nice and are produced. We have the triple camera set up.
Yes.
We're going to try to produce a piece and turn that around.
We're our very own sitcom.
Oh, wow. And now there's something that's talking back to us.
And we're in an echo chamber.
That's interesting. So I think what happened there is, I had the site pulled up.
Yeah, I've done that before. I do a beer podcast on Thursdays, and I always pre-post the Google Hangout, because we do a Google Hangout and we also do an audio version. And if I forget to shut down the website, it starts to play on the land. I'm like, where's that coming from? And I did it like 5 times. It's not like I just did it once.
Oh, good. You have much more successful podcasts.
I do. I'm a podcast superstar now. I didn't realize that. But yes, we do one called "So What's Your Story?" and that's not even me. That is Stephanie Fowler from Saltwater Media. I co-host, and I co-host because I don't ever shut up. And so in case she runs out of things to say, I'm there to kind of pipe in. But she hasn't really run out of things to say yet. The podcast is good. It's just audio, and I use my new audio toy. It sounds fantastic. It's the best sounding podcast I've done.
And this since we've been using this audio,
also sounds better.
Definitely sounds great. So you talk a lot. I just end up bringing more cameras,
right?
And making things more complicated than maybe they need to be. I liked our Facebook Live intro.
Yes, I'm sure it was fun. I didn't see it. I'll see it later.
You were on it.
I was on it. Yeah, I was. But I don't know how it looked. Like I said, I'm a little self-conscious. The other thing that you can do, I use a camera for one of my other podcasts, and I actually take all the red out of my face. That's how vain I am. I do. Poor Doug, because Doug will wear a blue shirt and it'll be like purple because it'll be like gray because I take all the red out of everything. But so the Facebook Live is relatively new, but they've been pushing it.
They've definitely been pushing it. It's that new thing we talked about last time on the podcast. How like if you have a new site or a new business or brand that you're trying to bolster, it's a great way to get to the top of the algorithms. I saw something the other day that Facebook is easing its sort of they had a 20% rule. If there was too much salesy type stuff, your promoted post or your promotion style post would only get out to like 20% of the people. They're constantly playing with that algorithm, and we're trying to experiment with it and get more stuff out there as well. So, Facebook Live seems to go to the top of things. There's a lot of people doing it well. I think there's a lot of people doing it poorly.
I'm probably one of the people who's going to be doing it poorly. One of the things that we've been considering using it for is something that I've been trying to produce for the last 6 months called Ocean City in 60 Seconds, and that's pretty much going to be my huge face.
Sure.
We were trying to get someone better looking and younger.
Is that why you went for the haircut?
That's why I cut my hair so short. The thing about when my hair is this short, the gray comes out more.
Yeah.
Like my long hair.
I like the long hair, Tony. It's a little bit more savage.
Yes, yeah. And well, I also sometimes it gets really long, like, and it starts to curl and get. And I haven't had it like that in probably 2 years, but I'm thinking that I might not get another haircut until September or October. Just really
let it go.
Go the whole wild man route.
I like it. So Facebook Live, if you're doing Ocean City in 60 seconds, I think you already have a leg up on half the competition because, there's just a couple real simple things. And I know this is a half-hour show. We've been doing it for a long time to the point where I think it flows pretty nicely. And if you're sitting and listening, you're getting the whole experience.
Right.
But when you're scrolling and you're going through Facebook, anything that's more than 60 seconds is a little bit tiresome. Right.
Yeah. They have a lot. And Facebook isn't. I've seen a couple of them, and they all just look like FaceTime.
Yes.
It's like, hey, someone broke into my house and is FaceTiming with me. So there must be a better way to produce it. I have an okay camera that I think would be useful. So if I could get the camera set, I actually even brought I have a tripod, and I thought that I could set up the Ocean City because we have a long banner, not one like the vert. So I thought that I could set that up and kind of stand there and do like the newscasting thing, and I think it'd be fine. But again, I wish I were better looking. I'm not like, no one looks at me and says, "Ooh, we want to go to Ocean City. We want to go where they keep people like that." That's not really.
Yeah. I see your point. It's funny because I have a post that we're going to be putting out, and it talks about sort of just some basic techniques to make your even amateurish video look better. Simple things like having the camera stationary.
Right.
Even though it kind of has a bad angle, but it's better to, instead of holding it in front of you, if you're doing the FaceTime Live, to have it resting on something. So it's 100% stationary.
Right.
The other thing is do your best to make sure that the natural light is behind the camera and in front of your face. That's a huge thing.
It's so funny how people.
It's a simple thing, right?
Right, and the thing is, because this happens to me with beer a lot of times, you forget that people don't do this all the time, and they just don't know it. Like, of course, right. One of the reasons that this desk is here is because that window is there. And because the desk, I was like, somebody's like, well, why don't you put it in front of the window? And I'm like, because if I put it in front of the window, we will never be able to take any photographs of ourselves because of the light. And if I put it there, then we'd have the door in the background and people walking in and out. This is a place we have a natural place for hanging things. We have some light from the side, a little bit of extra light. It's still a little prison-y here, but still a little Afghanistan cave.
But
not for lack of trying.
I might be doing that with Dave Miller before too long.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I actually did a Google Primer this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I don't want to take too much credit for it. I was really just bored, and I looked to see what it was, and it turned out to be something that I wanted to talk about anyway.
Okay.
And
hit me with it.
Personal brand.
Okay.
As an employee, which is something that we've been doing, certainly something that I've been doing for a long time. So that's why I want to talk about it, because I was right all along, and Google just said so.
Vindication.
Right. So one of the things that I do is I write for OceanCity.com. I'm the editor. I write for Annapolis.com. I'm also the editor. Sometimes I lie about those things. Like if I'm like, I don't say, it doesn't say, it says Tony Russo writer, because you want to make it sound like there's other people.
Somebody, yeah,
right. And so, and so, for instance, I write for Maryland.com a lot, and I never say that I'm the editor of that, or the sole writer or any of those things. But the idea is that I develop myself as the person who writes these things, and the same thing with beer. I've kind of developed, we have shortcraftbeer.com, and I've kind of developed myself as like the beer guy, and I don't talk about like the taste of beer. I don't do the technical side of it, because I know people who are way better at it than me, and also my job is to bring along people who aren't into it yet.
Right.
So I want to make it very accessible.
Right. We talked about this. You're the cultural Impresario.
Exactly. I'm
not
the
the beer Impresario.
Absolutely.
I like it.
And so, one of the things that Google had mentioned in their primer, and if you haven't signed up for the Google primer, it's something really worth considering. It takes 30 seconds, and it's really, I mean, don't want to be gross about it, but it's like a bathroom read. It's 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And you can scroll
it's
through.
gamified.
Yeah, and you can do it or not. It says this will take you 5 minutes, and then you can say, all right, I have 5 minutes, or I don't, and I'm interested in this, or I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else, it gives you ideas. If it doesn't give you any solid, if it doesn't teach you anything, at least you're like, oh, that's something I should at least think about.
Or it confirms something that you've
or if you're me, fortunately, if you're me, it confirms how brilliant you really are way deep down. But one of the things that people are often talking about, one of the things that makes me a bad salesperson, and I'm not that's not my job. Like, I don't sell, so it's not. I'm not really a bad. But what would make me bad at sales is I'm not really good about talking about anything other than myself.
Right. You could sell yourself,
it's not telling myself. It's just not shutting up until people are like, "Oh, that's Tony Russo. That's that guy that never shuts up." But one of the things that helps is as I go out and people see me and I'm out taking photos. And another thing is,
oh, look at this, props on the side.
Props on the side. I bring this every place.
Yes.
I mostly use my phone.
But you have that.
It's got the big light. It's like, oh, look, he must be official.
It's legit.
I mean, everyone has a camera. Everyone has a camera in their pocket.
You could have credentials, but if you have a standoff flash,
that's
legit.
Then that's it. And I hardly ever use it. But I have it. So recently we were at the Dunes Manor had a grand opening of a new set of suites that they have. And I was there and everybody was kind of getting together and they were having trouble getting the stand and the ribbon cutting, and I just took charge. And everybody's like, "Oh, he's got a camera around his neck. He's in charge." So I'm like, "Okay, you got to move in." Everybody look at me, and there were other people there who were taking for the paper with their phones or with their little cameras, right? Yes. But I was the guy with the big camera, and I was the guy that said, "Look at me," and so I got the best shots.
Yeah. Yep. No, I've always said this. We started our career taking pictures of people in bars. And, oftentimes without, really consent, but it's a public place.
Right.
And I just remember anytime anybody would ask, I would say, first of all, you have a camera, so there's a certain level of legitimacy. You're asking them to get their picture. And then they're like, oh, what is this for? I just say, oh, it's for the website.
Right.
The website.
The website. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
It's going on the web.
Right. That's where we keep all our
You were
stuff.
like, oh, okay. As long as you're not one of those newspaper people.
So my tip this week, if we're gonna call it a tip, is that you should start to make sure you cultivate yourself for what you do. Now, Google, it's easier for me too because I'm a writer. It's what I mean. I write I was talking to somebody the other day and I was saying yeah, I write professionally and amateurishly and as a hobby. I try to get things published, then I don't get published. I publish things. I'm in charge of publishing things. I try to get other things published that I sometimes have, and then I write things that no one will ever see, but just because I like to write.
Right.
It's like what I do.
Yes.
So, pushing myself as a writer isn't that hard a leap. But what Google talked about was establishing yourself, maybe the way that you do, as you might blog about what your video production is like.
Right.
Like the tips and trips that you were just talking about. Hey, here are some tips for if you want to use Facebook Live. Facebook Live, is that what it's called?
That's what we're calling it.
All right. Is it just us, or is everyone calling it that?
Yeah.
So you become then the kind of the expert on Facebook Live,
right? Because
you're the guy who writes about social media this way,
right? So we do a lot of production work for clients, and our philosophy has always been, they show people in a positive light, even when we're shooting pictures of them at bars,
right?
But really, a business or brand or product, its personality is predicated upon the people who work there, and with social media and just digital media and being so prevalent that you can develop your business's brand by showcasing individuals that you have within within that. So when you have and it's easy for us when we're doing stuff for fun places like Burley or the Starboard or Mackey's or what have you.
Right.
People like working there. People like going there and that sort of thing. But there's always a story to be told and different perspectives of the people who work there to tell the stories. So yeah. So building those, encouraging businesses, and then my job is to capture that, but encouraging people to develop their personal brand.
Right. And so, for instance, at a place like Mackey's or at a place like Burley, like, the bartenders, might want to have, maybe not the bartenders, it depends. I mean, like, all right, so a place like the Starboard who has the same bartender for 50, like if you're a manager, if you're a long-term employee, then you should have, then your social media presence should say something about what you do, or you can have one that's just like a lot of reporters have them for Joe at the Daily Times Joe or something like that.
Right.
I never did that.
Yeah.
The reason I never did that is because I knew that I didn't want to have to, like, if I was to like TR Bayside Gazette at Twitter,
Right.
So before you do that, and the other thing that I do is I take my career into my hands every day when I go on Twitter. That's the other kind of trade-off. Twitter is your trolls, and that's the other kind of trade-off. But if you feel like you're going to be in this particular career for a while, then use social media to be better at it. There's this woman who I don't know. I believe she works for Founders now. On Twitter, she's brewed for Natalie, and this is like the third beer company she worked for. But she didn't do beer, right? So she wasn't, like, no offense intended, like Christy Evo, right? Christy is an Evo, and so she's Christy Evo. If
She goes
to Bells, then she's gonna have to, develop a whole new thing. Whereas brewed for Natalie, like I said, and she's good at what she does, and she's fun. Like Matt Funk. He's a Dogfish guy, and I can't imagine him leaving because he's kind of like the god of one of the biggest beer companies in the region.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he really is. But he's not.
He like my Facebook set.
Very nice. But he's not Dogfish Matt. He's Crafty Funk.
Right.
Because wherever he goes, I mean, unless he gets out of the crowd, and like he goes to work for Budweiser or something, then that might be a tough sell, right? As Crafty Funk, but like, as long as he's in the craft beer business or he's tricking people, one or the other, that's an appropriate Twitter handle, right? Forever. And one of the things, the other thing that people should remember though is sometimes he's notorious for it. No, not him. Someone else at one of the other breweries, who I'm not going to say because I don't want to. But I'll say Rard, because Rard does a good job on both sides. But I know that, like, Randy posts stuff, and I'm like, oh, I should share this on showcraftbeer.com because it's a really interesting craft beer thing. But then he'll have the privacy set.
Oh, right.
So that you can't share it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he realized that. And I mean, it's not my job to tell him. So if you're listening, then Randy. But, like, he's like, it's a cool picture of the new can.
Yeah.
I mean, why can't I see that? Like, why can I see that?
Well, and it's I think it's when you're dancing in between sort of the professional, like, persona and then a personal persona, like,
Right.
people can be weird about and probably should be weird about having their kids stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I don't. You see me. I'm. But also, that's
my kid has a YouTube channel that has had more hits than I do.
But but also it's the personality we cultivate, where we're like, yes, we're going to embarrass ourselves. My daughter, I was dancing in the kitchen last night, like being silly dancing, like this, and then like this, and I was videotaped, and they put that up on their Instagram.
Yes.
And it's just as simple as that.
That's about how it goes. I'm talking about Instagram and all of that, building your personal brand. I'm still trying to figure out Snapchat a little bit, especially as it comes to brands.
There's another one called Quora.
I don't even know that one.
That's what Google says.
Okay. But when we started doing Natalie and I, that's like real embedded, sort of brand building at the personal level, like the real personal.
Right.
So like we post embarrassing pictures of each other back and forth, because it's a very,
Right. You have
small
7
group of
followers
people.
on Snapchat.
I mean, 20 people see Natalie dyeing her hair, and it looks crazy.
Right.
And then I'm sleeping on the couch, which, happens inevitably every night, that we're not out. But yeah, so I mean, building the personal brand and having that relate to the bigger picture, I think is important. I think it's important for employers to understand that that's how things are going, and to help cultivate.
You can exactly. You can do a good job, or you can do a bad job. You can bring people along, or you can kind of spin out of control. And just have everybody put my opinions are my own on their social media site, on their social media feeds. That was the other thing that Google suggested, which I don't disagree with it, but I can't do it. Is like they said you should be on as many. You should be on as targeted as social. So, like, if you're a business person, you should be posting on LinkedIn. I'll probably not post on LinkedIn. But I mean, I only post sometimes on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, and part of that is because we have clients now that is their sort of forum.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need to be on everything. I have suggested to people that you should at least capture those things, like good clean fun.
Get your name. Yeah, I have my name on almost everything.
So that somebody can't troll you.
All right. So the year is 1995, and it was time for me to sign up for America Online. And I tried to sign up for Tony Russo, but seeing as it's Joe Smith in Italian, it was taken. So I'm like, well, I'll do my name backwards. OSSURYOT. And now, it never occurred to me how weird that is with my name backwards. And I say that to people, and they're like, oh yeah, but it never occurred to me that it wasn't obvious. So then when Twitter came out, I could have been Tony Russo on Twitter. I could have been Tony Russo on Facebook. I was really early to all of these parties. And it was just occurring to me the other day, I'm like, you could have just I haven't used AOL in 10 years. You could have abandoned it. I could have abandoned it, OSSURYOT, in 2000. And still had all of those. I could be Tony Russo on everything else. Right? And I just regretted that like 3 days ago. It just occurred to me. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah, of course Tony Russo was on AOL first, but I mean, there were when I like to tell the story. I'm sorry, I've told you before, but when I did a search on people. When I did a Twitter search, when I first signed up with my SMS phone, this was pre-smartphone. There were, you looked online, there were 3 people in the area on Twitter, on the peninsula, in Maryland, Eastern Shore, and in Delaware. And I called the Verizon store because I wanted to do a story on it for the Bayside Gazette. And I said, I want to do a story on Twitter, and they're like, we don't know that.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
And now it's almost gone.
It's almost gone. Well, I'll be there on Twitter, and I'll be the last person out of Twitter. I'll be the last person out of Google Plus.
Yeah. We're still repping Google Plus pretty solidly. I think it's changed, right? It's no longer. I mean, I think they've abandoned the idea that it's going to be a
Facebook, like
Facebook.
It's social net. I've been saying that for years. It's the center of your web.
Yeah.
And that's how I still use it. I've been using it. I've been using FrozenCity.com. We get some traction for it because it's so focused. That's the upside. Is it's focused enough, small, focused enough that when you put something up there for Ocean City, everybody in Ocean City sees it. And
so, interestingly, something that happened this week, or the past week, on Instagram. Talk about people sort of trying to be ahead of the curve and trying to adopt. Well, the opposite of that happens when people are not doing the research that they need to do, and they're trying to adopt something that isn't actually happening. Like the Instagram, you have to, follow notifications in order to see posts. So did you catch this?
No, was it?
So on Instagram this past week,
it still works, though, right?
Yes.
All right. I just texted before.
There was, and this is happening. They're talking about changing their algorithms to be non-chronological.
Twitter did that, and they made you opt out.
Yes.
So if you don't want to see them, if you want to see them in order, you have to say I want to see them in order. Otherwise, you're going to see them like on Facebook, where you have to fight to get.
Right. So but this is the model that they're using, because this is how the pay model for them is going to end up working out, because they have to be able to put things in your feed that you don't want.
Right.
However, in the past week, they had this, somehow somebody got it in their head and wrongly informed everybody that on Tuesday morning, if your followers didn't, follow or turn on notifications for your Instagram page, that they would never see another Instagram again. And first of all, let's take a step back. And there's plenty of motorcycle and girls doing dumbbell squats and and things like that I could never see again and not notice, and that would be fine.
Right.
Those are things that are, at one point, I have one friend who does bodybuilding, and now I get now I get all of these feeds of girls doing squats.
Oh, you get extra.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I use Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook all the same way. I just push. That's just me. It's just, here's my stuff. If you have your stuff, you can send it to me in the mail.
Well, you'll start getting some mail.
Email it to me.
But yeah, so all these people, there's this rash of people, clamoring and saying, turn on my notifications, turn on my notifications, turn on my, and that's a terrible one. And it didn't take but a 2-minute search to find out that they weren't changing their algorithms the very next day. They're not even changing them. Initially, they said it could be weeks, it could be months, and now they're saying we're still experimenting.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, so I don't know. Although I just think it's funny when people jump on a something.
No, one of the things that was promised from Instagram, and I haven't heard anything, is being able to switch between accounts.
That has been promised, and I have not seen it work yet.
And that's unfortunate, because I can't use it for business, and I think there are a lot of people who don't use it for their businesses.
We
For that reason, because I mean, it wouldn't matter. Like most of it just matters that there are things like ferociously.com that I put on Twitter and I put on Facebook, but I don't put on Instagram because, one of the things about a corporation is they have really long, involved passwords that, that everybody has,
Right.
because you don't want them to get, it can't be Tony number 1, because you don't want anybody to take over your Instagram when you have
Tony number 1.
Yeah. So unfortunately, and it kind of hurts us. Like we have one person who will go out and they're in charge of Instagram, but I always felt like, I'm out and I'm taking these photos anyway. I could be adding to Instagram conversations, but I can't switch back and forth.
Well, and
everyone needs to see me in my Mets hat, so why would I?
Obviously,
everyone needs to see every martini I drink.
Well, and then for people like us, we have brands where we're doing stuff behind the scenes.
Right, for them.
Yeah, and so, Nick's Fish House is doing an opening day special for the Orioles, but they're, you also have to post something for the Starboard down here or whatever it is. So it's like to be able to switch back and forth
would be huge, because I can do it in Twitter, and I do. I have like 7 Twitter accounts that I manage, and I do always start from the home page, because sometimes I'm mean on Twitter, so I want to make sure that I'm being mean from me and not mean from any of the people who write me paychecks.
Right. Should we talk about the mean Twitter that was in the area?
Oh yeah, we absolutely can. I don't have an opinion on it, except that
I like your opinion on it. Yeah. It's like there are more words dedicated to the outrage over it than were actually
right. It was some kid, and
it's Mean Girls, and it's terrible. I have a daughter who's in high school.
Right.
I mean,
well, the thing is, I have some cyberbully experience, not just being a cyberbully, but so when one of my kids had a thing, how parents listen close. This is how you handle cyberbullying. Pick up the phone, call the kid's parents, say, "Hey, this is Tony Russo. Have you gotten a chance to take a look at your kid's social thing recently? Because I think you'll be disturbed. If you're not, we can have a conversation about it. But take a look, and then if you feel like we need to talk, if you feel like I'm being too sensitive, I'm willing to be too sensitive. You look, you tell me I'm too sensitive.
Right.
Problem solved.
That's the most.
Two things. You talk to your kid. You talk to the other grown-ups. We want to do so much of this stuff on Facebook, so much breastfeeding and so much complaining and just like we want to avoid one of the things that social networks have given us the ability to do is to avoid conflict. And everyone wants to avoid conflict. That's why it's called conflict, right? And if you just realize that, yeah, everyone wants to avoid conflict, and I'm willing to engage in a little bit of conflict on my child's behalf,
Right.
have a little courage, and and between you and your kids and whoever, I don't want to know. It's none of my business. You know what I mean? I don't want to tell you what to do or what not to do. I will tell you what I do and that it works for me just fine.
Right.
And it's one of those things, and word gets out like, okay, well, you might like. Did you hear that Megan's dad actually called Phil's house and said something like, holy shit, Megan talks to her dad? Nobody thought of that, right? Problem solved.
Never would have expected that. Congratulations, it's 5 years and 215 episodes. That's the most reasonable I've ever heard.
That's an important thing.
Yeah. Things that matter.
Things that matter. I can really feel it. Yeah, I do what I can.
That's great. Yeah. So that is wonderful advice, and I often, talk about how social media allows for, this emotive reaction to everything, and doesn't allow for a thoughtful reaction to it, because it gets lost in the
which is why I was a little proud of myself, and I was trying. Like, I don't know, I can't tell you how many times I deleted what I was going to write. I'm like, I don't even know these people. I don't know why I'm seeing this. I don't know why I'm typing. So let's take a step back. And let's not rant. It's early, and I was kind of on fire yesterday. I said the T word, and I was trolling. I'm like, okay, who else can I make miserable this morning? Who else's Monday morning can I ruin?
Right.
Hurt me at the internet.
And just for context,
I'm sorry.
for people who are going to watch this, there was a Twitter handle that came out about Decatur, the high school, and it was a burn book. It was like, hottest freshman girl, coolest lacrosse player, and then it was like biggest asshole. It was just ridiculous. And they have people and there are polls, and they have people participating.
Right. And not saying it's not me. I'm just saying it's just right.
Well, it's funny too. Is so if my daughter,
because when they said nobody should sign up for that, I'm like, okay, well, first order of business, follow.
Well, so this is a question. My daughter, if she were to be one of the ones that discovered as following,
right?
It's like that's a serious conversation between me and her. And the first thing that I would point to is my friend who works closely with Towson University and the admissions department for athletics. And there's a lot more monitoring of if you're following a Twitter handle on your social media that's F Decatur,
right?
That could potentially throw up a red flag.
Not good enough.
Well, yeah.
They'll just say, hey, stop that. No. If you're good enough, if you're a very good football player, you could be following HitlerIsTheBest.com. And they'll be like, yeah, Hitler probably is the best, but delete that. And also, if you're going to smack your wife, smack her someplace where she can hide under the clothes. You know what I mean? But who you're following is probably not relevant. What you're saying and doing could be, that could be more relevant. But again, just a lot of times they'll say, hey, if they care enough, they'll say, hey, delete it. If they don't care enough, if they care enough to look, they care enough to tell you to take it off, Yeah. They don't care enough to say, oh, well, we're not taking that star running back because he followed up Decatur back when he was 14. No. Yeah.
Because somebody would say, hey, actually, he was the number one football player on the poll.
Right. So I think like if you're following Kanye West, maybe that should keep you out of college.
because he had that album, College Dropout.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because I'm a Kanye West fan.
I don't know
anything about Kanye West, but like I said, people talk about him a lot, so I must hate him.
I think he might. You made this analogy about Bieber and Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I see.
He may be. You know, there might be some similarity there.
Right.
Frank Sinatra was a huge jerk.
Right.
But now he's revered.
Right. And nobody knew it.
Nobody knew how much of a jerk he was.
He had spread his jerk pretty personally, like guy to guy, 100 people at a time.
Yeah.
In a country of 300 million people, it takes a while. It took 50 years for the word to get out. Whereas Kanye West and Justin Bieber, people like that, they have immediate access. They can show people how jerky they are.
Just real quick, if you want to follow me on Genius, follow me on Genius. My name is Chris. What's this? You are my
Genius is an annotate the web app, and you should at least look at it. What you can do is you can go to a blog and you can comment on the blog in a sidebar for other people who use Genius. It was initially done for song lyrics, and I think it's still mainly a song lyric thing. But what I've been using it for, which is why I wanted to bring it up, is I've been annotating my own blog because I'm from the. It's a little pretentious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm from the David Foster Wallace and Chuck Poston School of I love to footnote things. Like, I want to talk about this, but I can't talk about it here because it doesn't go with the sentence. Right. So the paragraph is about this, but I want to say something more about this that isn't going to fit in the paragraph. Right. What they started doing was footnoting. Right. And so this one I can say, this is more about this thing. I'm reading Infinite Jest. It's taking some time to get through. It's 1,000 pages and change. I read a 5-page long footnote.
To show you how they feel. I am nearly as obnoxious as I think.
Oh yeah, no, he's I think David Foster Wallace is like actually genius. Yeah, like Mozart's genius.
Real genius.
Yes, it's not. Yeah, I'm not saying he was cool or he was right. I'm saying that he killed himself. He killed himself. When he would go away, he had dogs with psychological issues. He would have to hire special people to watch his dogs with psychological issues. It's very sensitive and very overwrought, but also really great. Anyway, David Foster Wallace, Chuck Postman, Tony Russo, annotating the hell out of themselves.
There you go.
We didn't get to talk much this week, so we are out of time. Yeah. We'll talk twice as much next week. I'll have some water. I'll bring a little something. I'll bring a lollipop, maybe. So do you have anything else? I got nothing. All right. Well, may Todd give you a sense of living in a small town.
We'll see you next weekend. Happy hour.
Cheers.